Hi, I'm Cindy from Unique Photo, and today I'm here with Taryn, who's going to be showing us how to make your own backdrop for under $25.
This is a fun and inexpensive project that you can do at home.
So Taryn, where'd you get all your materials?
The best thing about this is that you can find all the materials at your local retail stores such as Home Depot or Michael's Art Supply.
So what did you buy there?
The first thing that we picked up is a 9x12 paper plastic drop cloth. Now you want the paper in the front so that it absorbs the color of the ink. And you also want the plastic in the back so that it protects your floors.
Does it matter what size you buy the backdrop in?
I found smaller sizes, but I prefer the 9x12 just because it covers a larger shooting area.
That makes sense. I see other things on this table.
Well, just to ensure that your floors are safe, I prefer to use a second drop cloth. And to make sure that the dye does not stain your hands, I would recommend picking up a pair of latex gloves.
So what colors did you come up with to make this backdrop today?
I picked some complementary colors, which are blue and purple. I would not recommend using colors such as green and red because they combine and make a color like brown, which isn't that great to shoot on.
No, that would be ugly.
I don't recommend it.
So you like colors like reds and blues or pinks and purples that complement each other more?
Yes, anything that can blend together is something that you want to go with.
Now, I see you have a bucket over there.
Well, the bucket of water, it's filled halfway with water, is because after you put your dyes on the drop cloth, you want to be able to blend those colors together, and the water helps with that.
Very nice. All right, well, why don't we get started and make a backdrop?
Awesome, I can't wait.
Hey, Taryn, I see you're ready to make your new backdrop.
Yeah, so we put the first drop cloth down for protecting the floors, and the second drop cloth is what we're going to be using for a backdrop.
I see you have some cute new shoes on.
I know. I decided to wear these little booties just so I wouldn't tear the backdrop when I'm walking around.
So what's the first thing you do to make your backdrop?
I am going to use the blue as the first color.
Why did you choose the blue over the purple?
The purple is a darker color, so you won't be able to see the blue if you use the darker color before that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so are you ready to do this?
I'm very ready.
All right, here we go. So what we're going to do is just start sprinkling the color around. Now it can be very chaotic because the darker patches are going to kind of blend into the lighter ones. Now I want to just mention that you shouldn't use all of your dye directly onto the backdrop. You want to save some when you start blending it into the water. So I think that's good enough to start. Let's start dipping it in the bucket. So now that we poured the dye onto the backdrop, you can see that the colors are already starting to blend together, but we're going to help it along by using the bucket of water.
How much water do you put in your bucket?
I used about half of it. You're going to want to refill when it runs out, but the more water that you put in, the more diluted the dye is going to become.
That makes sense.
So what we're going to do is actually grab it from the middle of the backdrop and start to plunge it into the water. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So once you kind of get it all in there, you're just going to let it soak and kind of move it around inside of the bucket. And when you take it out, this is when it gets messy. But you can see that the colors are definitely being helped out. Now in the areas that there's not enough color, because the ink went into the bucket, you can actually just dump the blank areas in there. So once you're done with the steps for dyeing the backdrop, we just need to let it sit out and dry.
How long does that take?
In the summer, it takes about 1 to 2 hours outside. But since it's the winter and we're indoors, it's about 3 to 4 days.
Does it say this dark?
No, it starts to get lighter as the colors blend together.
I'm really excited to see the finished product.
Let's do some shots when we're done.
That'd be great.
All right. Woo! Yeah, finally.
Decade later. Give me my coat.
So can we
No!
actually hang this up to dry?